does he determine it? Like, what do you think it looks like to them? I'm just asking a question.
Probably like, I don't know, but he probably does not actually love her for her, and he probably loves the idea of her. Like, just because that seems
like he's really
like
in love with
how it was just back then.
and like, especially because there's a lot of talk about like their race, and so he's really like, I feel like he's overly attracted to his white girl, you know what I mean? Like his little, you know, like I feel like that, like he just sees her as something you'd see like in a commercial, not a real person, something you get to keep around and call him a woman.
I agree that he keeps her like as a trophy in a way. And also wanted to ask a hypothetical. If the genders were swapped, and let's say Othello was a woman and was the general, and then Desdemona was a guy, what do you think would happen on page 215 where Othello ends up slapping his wife? If it was reversed and it was like a woman slapping a man, how do you think that would change Ludovico, like his reaction?
I feel like instead of like breaking up a fight, it would be more like he would just continue moving. Like there wouldn't be an issue because, or completely wrong, because women are seen as less than in this time. So it could be very controversial that she puts her hands on him. So it would be either two ends of that spectrum.
I think instead of being astonished, he was more like probably more hands off because he thinks, or I guess in society it's seen as a man should be able to like defend himself, but as well they should be able to, like they shouldn't put their hands on a woman. So I guess it's like it counteracts in a way.
It's like a lose-lose situation.
I also wanted to say that Othello stated in Act 4 my wife was supposed to was my captain, that my children were represented for her. So I think, like, you know, he also sees, that as someone who's going to take care of children. And then, like, you have, like, a generation of successful kids.
Yeah, I agree. He like sees her as like, this is kind of gross, but like a breeding object, like a trophy wife. Like he's ready just to make as many little extra babies, but like not give a hoot about what's going on with her.
Yeah, and just let her take care of it, because that's just, it's like the role of the woman is to like take care of the house and the kids and, you know, let the man be the man and,
Yeah,
I don't know, over here.
and his wife. It's so
Yeah.
it's so apparent that he doesn't actually see her as anything other than like surface level, because if you are that deep into somebody's life that you're married and you love them, you're not just gonna not talk to them, not communicate, you're not gonna shut down like that. Like what he did to seclude himself, he saw her as such a perfect object when that got taken away. He no longer saw like that shit is valuable to like connect with.
A theme that I think is present in the text about gender is this idea that like women can't win. If they go against their husband and stand up for themselves, they don't win. If they are obedient to their husbands and satisfy their desires, they can't win, right? Where do you see evidence of that in play? That theme?
Definitely when Hermione gave Iago a handkerchief, she expected some sort of reward for compassion from Iago, and she did end up getting it, and then later she ended up resenting Iago for that reason. And also tried to guide Desdemona to think the same way when they're having their one-on-one, but unluckily Desdemona didn't
How can you connect the conflicts and themes in Othello to your own life? And Othello, the whole story, anything in it, to your own life. Ready, go.
I'll probably say that I'm an overthinker, and sometimes I'm also bad at communicating, so I feel like I could relate to Othello in a way, but I don't think it would ever be to that extreme, because I know communication is important, and I think more in our age, it's taught more commonly to like be more open about your emotions and talk to people instead of like closing yourself off.
I feel like I connect with Othello kind of a lot because just like a little bit. I'm a very jealous person. Like I know I just said like if you really love someone you wouldn't shut down like that. But I connect with that type of energy. I can't say I'm immature and do that, but he's supposed to be grown up somehow. But like just like jealousy, wanting to like hearing that type of thing about your partner, it kind of just like does a blank for you. That's what I believe.
I agree with like where you like kind of shut down when you find something you're not supposed to, and like there's like that gut. It's like something sinks in your gut, and then you just feel like I'm not gonna say that sort again, but yeah, you feel bad, and then you just like close yourself off, and you feel like you can't talk to your partner because it'll just make things worse, and maybe you make yourself think that you're overthinking, and that maybe like you're the problem.
That could have played a lot into Othello not wanting to like say anything, feeling insane because you could see it develop into like I don't know what I saw was kind of turning into a little bit of insanity. He was stressing about this and always trying to get a different outcome in his brain about what's happening, but it wasn't working, and it started to drive him a little mad thinking about if if she's really with, what did he say? Yeah, that's it.
With me, I think I'm a very indecisive person, so I always have like someone else like say their opinion and get easily swayed by that. So I think similar to this, Othello gets swayed by what Iago is saying and like believing like that this is good, like this is what we should be doing. And another example is like with the handkerchief and stuff. And also that he was doing everything he would say. That's another example.
I think for me, it's like in high school and everyone's like be manipulative to like get what they want. If it's like either for a relationship or something else, it's like people like do that type of stuff. So I don't know. It's just relatable to see.
Something that I can relate to, and this is maybe less true of your generation, but I think it's still something that's pretty prevalent among my peers, this idea that like women are expected to be pleasers, that they kind of always need to be making other people happy, that they're not supposed to rock the boat, they're not supposed to challenge or create conflict. I mean, we see that, right, and the expectations that are placed on Amelia and Desdemona in the play. And in my own life, I know that I've been more harshly criticized for the same personality traits that my male friends have. If you're like outspoken or you're really opinionated, like you're seen more as a woman, you're seen more as a capital B, or like someone who's being critical or stirring up conflict, you're seen more negatively than men. It's just kind of how they are, right? Like, well, that's just their personality, and we have to like tiptoe around it. Rather, like as a woman, you have to change. You shouldn't be like that. I don't know. Do any of you agree with that? Do you see
No,
that as
I
well?
completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone can agree with that without having to say it out loud, because we're all kind of raised to think that way. So if you're like, I don't think that way, well, take a little second look, because it's like right here in your head, you know what I mean?
Right, you might not like consciously be aware of it. You might not think to yourself, women need to be pleasers.
But we were like, I don't know about you, but like growing up as kids, I was always like told to be quiet. Like, guys, if you're mean to me, it's because they liked me or something. To be quiet, or like not to do this because it was like dirty or something. It's just like we're expected to be over here doing this while they are expected to be doing this. It's not fair to have expectations on how people are supposed to live.
It's more covert nowadays. It kind of manifests in like the reactions that people have, like to a woman doing the same thing as a man. Like,
Yeah.
that personality trait that I was talking about. And I think that that's similar to what's going on in the play, because Desdemona is constantly celebrated for those qualities of like being a pleaser. Thank you. All right, last question.
Yeah, that was so yeah, that's kind of true, because this happened in real life, but during lunch, like I saw like a group of guys that cuddled up over, and then someone had like their phone out, and they were like showing like pictures of like girls on Instagram. I don't know if they go to school, but they would like say like, oh yeah, like she's pretty, or like she's this, or this looks she's like, she looks ugly or something. It just, I guess like they want like more from women. Yeah.
We're doing a little better as a society about it now, but women were always raised to be good enough to be somebody's somebody's wife. And men were kind of raised to be the best of who you were. You know what I mean? Like that, like especially with like Christian households, that's how I was raised. I was raised to be somebody's good wife. That's stupid. Wow, my brother was raised to be the best he could be. You know what I mean? It's just very different. And it's insane to see how, like, now that it's like that, people like guys just choose like who's the best next to them, who looks the best next to them.
And I also think that that's because of media nowadays. Because a lot of women, like more women than men, I'm sure men do too, but like, will like Photoshop their pictures to make them look like not real. And then when everyone does that, the people looking at it who don't do that are like confused on why they don't look like that and why they aren't the way that they should be as society is telling them to be now.
I mean, I think that women do have a bit more freedom to like wear what they want to wear and express their individuality and personality like in their clothing and in their like style. Like, I don't think that there's like one standard of beauty as much now as there used to be, but you do still see like women who don't meet like specific standards of like physical attractiveness, who aren't young, like they're not seen as like viable sexual objects. Like in movies and TV shows, men are able to be like the hunk, right? The like romantically well into like their old age, but women aren't, right? That's why you see
they're
like
always like old men, bachelors going after like 20-year-old women. But if like you see like, we call them bachelors, but like if a woman was doing that, you'd be like, you call her a cougar. You know?
All right, we're able to get a little sidetracked because we have a little bit of time, but there's one more question. Okay, is Othello a victim or a perpetrator? Ready, go.
I kind of feel, I kind of talked to Mr. Brown about this a little bit before, but I feel like he's a perpetrator for sure. I feel like he's a predator, more like it. I don't know, I feel like he really latched onto that idea. I feel like at that point he was kind of looking for something within Desdemona that he could use against her. And when it became something that could ruin his sociability and credibility is when he took deeper action, and that is the predator to me.
To be honest, if he would have been like more focused on like his feelings and stuff, this wouldn't have happened. Like Desdemona would have had some help, and he could have at least just like really instead of like sucking on to like how he's like a whore, a cheater.
Well, in that respect, how much do you think he's victimized by like a racist, misogynist society? Like how much is he conditioned to have those thoughts about himself or about women? And if he is conditioned by society, does that like absolve him of his guilt, or does that make him less guilty? What do you think, Jaden? Is he guilty or is he innocent?
I think he's because I reached an extent that he was a victim because everyone's a product of their own environment. Like it seems like racism and like a toxic masculinity got to him. Like such as when Brabantio was upset at Othello for dating his
Good
daughter.
morning, Spartans, and happy Friday. Today's the Spartan Academy Choir Mariachi Fun Time with Mr. Noy will be in CM2. Band support with Mr. Butland will be in LA 11. House support with Ms. Hutch will be in T10. There will also be a note on the door telling students where to go. Happy Friday once again.
Brabantio, when he was criticizing Othello, that's a sign that I guess in their world, in their yeah, the context of the story, their race is looked down upon, and then it made him succumb to the stereotype of being like this angry, unemotional person, and that made him lash out of his subconscious, because I think he was generally good at hiding those fears and those insecurities, but it all like came crashing down, and he just succumbed to all of it.
How many more points do I need? like a victim, but if anyone who is like deep into psychology, like your mental state doesn't excuse your actions. So whether or not he was like fully aware or acting on rage, he still did those things. He still killed her. He still decided to take the packages. That was his thought in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like he didn't try other things and fail. His first thought was to get rid of this woman, and for me, that is a predator and a perpetrator.
Alright, that's the end, you guys. Okay, with the books and the cards here, keep your journals, keep the rubrics from your partners. We're gonna use those next week. Give a couple minutes until the bell rings. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What class do you have? We have choir. We have choir after this. But bro, can you check where my Spartan heavy is? What the heck? I know
Like, girl, you can literally go on my essay and get it. You literally told me, typed on the internet, there you go. But I was like, that's done by today.
Are you going to club shoot? What? Really?
I'm gonna wear my boxers.
But she's lazy. Oh my goodness.
Do you just call me Maggie? You never call me. That's okay, you can do that. This is where